Welcome to the Kingdom-Minded Mompreneur, where we, Becky
and Monique, your new biz besties, both busy moms just like you.
We're here to talk all things network marketing, mom life, and how to truly live out your calling. We'll be dropping 2 episodes each week to help you, the busy mompreneur, know the exact strategies to build both your business and your home. You'll hear each week from one of the top network marketers on their best tips for what's led to their success and what's working now.
We know that you're here because you are called to something more. You have a desire to succeed in both your business and at home, and we are going to teach you how. If you love what you hear here on the podcast and want to be one of our success stories, join us inside our community, the Kingdom-Minded Mompreneur, where we provide a daily social media action plan, additional resources, kingdom coaching, and more. Click the show notes for the link to join. So let's get into the episode. Are watching on the replay. We are so excited that you are here. So if this is your first time hearing me train, my name is Monique Scripp, and I am a coach for network marketers. And we have a community podcast, all the things. And so today, the reason why you are here is because we're going to be talking about systems for your home and business. And we marketed this speaking to the homeschooling mom. But if you are not a homeschooling mom, you are welcome here. There are still things that you are going to learn, you're going to be able to implement, that you're going to take away for your business as well as your home. So we are so glad that you are here. So there is a quote that I heard recently, and it talks about one of society's greatest lies is that the quiet life of a faithful mom is a wasted life. Okay, I heard this quote, and it was so impactful to me. One of society's greatest lies is the quiet life of a faithful mom is a wasted life. And I just think about all of the pressure that society puts on us to achieve and to accomplish and to go after things. And what are you doing? It's all about what we're doing versus what we have been called to be. And if you are a mom, if you are a grandmother, if you are somebody who is prioritizing your home life, do not minimize that calling. So I want to speak that word of encouragement to you today is that if you are that homeschooling mom and maybe you're feeling that pressure of, am I doing enough? Am I doing other things? Versus looking at your life and saying, the most important thing is right here in my home. So we're going to be talking about systems for your home and business because we are going to be talking about why it's important to prioritize your home. But also, if you are a network marketer, how do you do both of those things well? How do you have the ability to go after your goals, go after your dreams, have those things that drive you and push you while prioritizing your home? So this is my family here. This was a wedding that we went to in September with our neighbor who got married. Actually, she was one of the kids' old babysitters that then got married. And so we had the pleasure of getting to go to her wedding. So this is a little family, our last family photo that we've taken. And my children are 18, 16, and 15. So I am a mom of 3 teenage boys. It is so fun. I absolutely love having teenagers. Hands down, I'm like, so far, it's the most fun age, in my opinion. And I am a network marketing coach. And we have a community called the Kingdom-Minded Mompreneur Community. I will share that with you at the end if that's something that you want to be part of our community. We have a podcast called the Kingdom-Minded Mompreneur. I do that with Becky Baxter. You've probably seen all of our content together. Rather have 100 toddlers than 12 to 14. Well, 12 to 14, Elizabeth commented in the chat. 12 to 14 is, but I will say, I really feel like those older teenage years are fun. You have hard conversations, but it's just enjoyable. It feels like, you have a friendship with your children. So we have a podcast called the Kingdom-Minded Mompreneur. And I kind of accidentally stumbled into homeschooling. Okay. I say that I am an accidental homeschool mom. And here's why, is because as I share this training with you, I want you to know upfront that I am not coming to you as somebody who's been homeschooling for 15 years and I have all these tips on, we have a classroom set up and we do this and this and this. That is not me. Okay. That is not me. I did not plan to homeschool. I view myself, like my perception of myself is a professional, a businesswoman, a coach, a mentor, all these different things. I do not perceive myself as a homeschooling mom. And it's funny because, my son came to me. So I have, you see here 3 children, and our youngest son, who's 15, he's a freshman, and he has been asking me for a long time to homeschool him. All 3 of them were in private school, and he just kept coming to me over and over and over again, asking, hey, can you homeschool me? Will you allow me to do it from home? And it just came to a point where, long story short, he literally drew this picture one day and casually just mentioned to me, he's like, Mom, I just want you to know how hard it is for me to go to school every single day. And he drew me this picture, and it broke my heart because he has dyslexia, he has some learning challenges, and it truly is hard. Like, it is a struggle every single day. And I think I did not understand that. I was like, you just need to work harder. You just need to sit still. Like, and so I realized that day, I was like, okay, I have to figure something out. And I was talking with a mentor of mine. Okay. I was talking with a mentor of mine because anytime I make any kind of decisions, I try to be wise with those decisions. And one of the aspects of wisdom is asking people advice, right? And so I had asked my friend Shay, you guys might know Shay. She is actually one of the people that works alongside us in our community. And she homeschooled 5 children. And I was sharing with her that one of the boys had asked to homeschool. And I said, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a homeschool mom. I'm not, any of these things. I'm like telling her why I am not qualified to be teaching my children. So tell me if you guys can resonate with this. When my son came to me asking if I could homeschool him, this is the picture that I had in my head. Okay. The picture I had in my head was a family with 6 kids from the 90s in all denim. Okay, when someone says the word homeschool, that is what the picture that came to my mind. So I was like, I'm not this person. Okay, can you guys give me like a hand raise if you're like, you understand the connection between the word homeschool and that kind of image, right? Elizabeth says, I have 6 kids. Okay. Well, I see this person and I'm like, that is great for them, but that is not my calling, right? Like, that is not what I feel called to. And so I'm having this conversation with my friend Shay that I tell you about. And Shay asked me a question, and this was so helpful. Is she said, well, Monique, what are you good at? Like, what is it that you feel you're called to? And I said, well, I'm good at coaching people. I'm good at mentoring people. I'm good at helping people become the best version of themselves, calling them higher. I said, I'm a visionary. I can help people like see the pieces that are missing, show them how their future can be different, right? And so y'all are so funny. You're cracking me up with these comments. 6 kids. Everyone on this chat might have 6 kids. They're like, Monique, this is me in the picture. Anyway, and so Shay says, she asked me like what I felt like my giftedness is. And I said to her, I said, I have all these other skills, but it's not teaching, right? And she was like, take those skills and apply them to your children. And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, well, heck yes. Of course I can coach them. I can mentor them. I can guide them. I can, do all these different things. And so I had this like mental shift of, instead of feeling like I had to, I said, this is an opportunity where I get to homeschool my children. And so my youngest son was the one who had asked, and Becky, you can go to the next slide. Okay. My youngest son was the one who had asked. And so long story short, I'm not going to get into the details of our curriculum, but I ended up finding a curriculum that was, I didn't have to teach, quote unquote, teach chemistry or algebra or all those kind of things, right? Found a curriculum. And from there was able to really feel confident in that and saying, okay, I really feel like this is what God's calling me to do because my kid has been asking. So we shared with our middle son, hey, we're going to homeschool the youngest. Do you want to do this with him? He wanted to do it with him. Okay. I was surprised because I was not expecting that. So we have a senior, we have a junior, and we have a freshman. So our senior is still in private school. Our junior and our freshman are home. Okay, and so I'm homeschooling the two of them, and our life is full. Our life is busy. But the thing that I have recognized is I created a system of how to organize our day. And this is really what I'm going to teach you guys today is I work, I run our Kingdom Minded Mompreneur community along with Becky and pretty much have a full-time job. And so whenever this came, homeschooling came into our life, I said, okay, how can I be really efficient with our time? And I really feel like it has worked well. Yes, have there been days that are hard? Yes. Have there been days where I, occasionally have feelings of overwhelm? Yes. But for the most part, I do feel like we've gotten a handle on our calendar, we've gotten a handle on our schedule, and it works well. And so if you are that mom, or if you're just someone that you're like, I've got to get a hold on being organized, having a routine, having habits for my home, having habits for my business, I really believe that what I'm going to share with you today is going to speak to you. Okay, so there are 4 things that you're going to learn today. So the first one is how to identify what you want most. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. The second one is how to set business hours as a homeschooling network marketer. So if you're working your direct sales business, you're also being that mom. How do you do both? How do you set hours? I'm going to talk about my 3-block system. The third thing is how to get your kids involved and on a schedule. And then the fourth is how to have consistent non-negotiables. Okay, we're going to talk about the power of consistency. So the first one, how to identify what you want most. When you think about what you want most, ask yourself, what are you called to? So most of you are here because you are in a direct sales network marketing business, and there's probably something in you that feels called to that. You feel called to the business that you are doing. And so if you feel called to that, then are you making that a priority? Are you doing the things that are going to help you get to the goals that you have? You might have a specific goal of, hey, this year I would like to achieve X rank, or I would like to hit this, much income in my business. So what is it that you have been called to? Also, what is it that you've been called to in your home? What is it that you need to prioritize in your home? Really think about those things. The next one is, what are you gifted with? I truly believe that God gives each of us different gifts that we need to lean into. So just like I shared with you my story just a second ago about how, in my mind, quote unquote homeschool teacher, I didn't feel called to that. But the moment I shifted my mindset as coach, mentor, leader, I could get on board with that. And that excited me. And so what is it that you're gifted with? Maybe you could write down all of the things that you are gifted with. And maybe you could ask friends, people who are close to you, your spouse, like, what are your giftings? And how can you use those in both your business and both in your home? Alongside raising children, how can you use the things that you are gifted with to encourage your kids, to speak life into your kids, to empower your kids? And then the third one is to ask yourself, how can you act as if you are already that person now? Okay, so we had the pleasure this morning of interviewing someone for our podcast. And she was talking about, she shared her story of sobriety. You guys are going to have to check it out when this podcast airs. Her name is Becky Brose. But anyway, she shared her story and she was talking about sobriety. And she said how she started to think about her future self and the future self that she wanted to become. And she started to act as if she was that person currently. And so how can you think about the person who you want to become? When you think of your future self, how do you view your future self? How do you view your future family? Because if you tell yourself, hey, I want to have, like for me, I want to have a great relationship with my children. I want to be close to my children. I want to be able to, all these different things I want in my life. Okay, well, if I want those things for my future, how do I need to show up now? If I want to have a great relationship with my kids, I can't ignore my kids, right? I can't not prioritize my kids. I can't sit here and go after all my dreams and all this kind of stuff and not prioritize my home life and think that I'm going to have a great relationship with my kids. Same thing with your business. You can't say, all right, I would love to achieve X goal in my business, and then you never put in the work, you never do the things that are needed. So how can you act as if you are that person now? All right. The second one is to set business hours. So this is so important because, you have to take a hold of your calendar. You are in charge of your calendar. Life does not just happen to you. You need to be proactive. And so you can't just say, well, this happened or that happened or this. There are life circumstances like last night, we had a kid with a flat tire, right? Like there's life circumstances that throw off your day. But for the most part, you can be the one to take control of your life, take control of your calendar. So set business hours. So I work my day in 3 different blocks, and I want you to kind of think about how you can do this for yourself. So identify your own self-care time. Okay, there are 3 things that I want you to kind of think about when it comes to your calendar and your day. The first one is identify your own self-care time. So what that means is, what are the things that you need to do for you? This is not, I'm going to the spa. This is not, getting a massage. That's not what I'm talking about when I say self-care. When I say self-care, I'm talking about, are you reading every day? Are you exercising every day? Are you, going out and going for a walk? Are you taking a shower? Like the basics of self-care, prioritizing yourself, because there could be a variety of ages of kids, but there might be, I was talking to somebody yesterday who she was telling me she has 3 under 3. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, like that is a challenging season, right? Where you may not shower every day or whatever, things like that. So when I say self-care, that's what I'm talking about. Like, what are those things that you need to carve out in your day without anyone around that you need to do for you? The next one is to identify 2 to 3 non-negotiables in your business. Okay, so what that means is when you are looking at your network marketing business, there are certain actions that are needle moving actions, like income producing actions. And then there are certain items that are not. And so if you are a busy mom and you have very limited time, you need to be focused on what are the activities that are going to move the needle forward in your business every single day. Okay, so that needs to be one of the blocks that you have, is your business and how you focus on that. And then the next one is to identify 2 to 3 non-negotiables in your home. And so that looks like just the practical side of running your home, your dinners, your laundry, getting kids where they need to be, all of the things that are involved in running your home. If you ask yourself, like, what are the things that are non-negotiable, be able to identify those things. You're not in a season where you can have 10 non-negotiables. Okay. It needs to be very limited. You really need to narrow it down and say, what are the things that I have to get done for my self-care? What are the things I have to get done for my business? And then what are the things that I have to get done for our household? And I'm going to expand and show you my example in 1 second. But the next part of this is to recognize that you may be in a season that requires boundaries with your time. You have to be able to say no. Okay. A year ago, I could have said yes to lunches during the day, or, I want to go do this or go do that or whatever, right? Because I was like, literally, I just stopped showing you all my nails. I just stopped getting my nails done because I was like, I don't have time. I used to do that regularly. And I'm like, I literally do not have time in my schedule. I don't need to prioritize that. That is not a priority. I really honestly don't care. I mean, yeah, I like the way it looks, but I don't care that much. And so I've recognized, I'm like, okay, I'm in a season where this is just not important to me right now in this season. And so if you are a network marketer, you are homeschooling your children, you have very limited time. And so the things that are not a priority to you, you have to be able to recognize. If somebody reaches out to you and is like, hey, let's do lunch. I literally just had this happen to me. Someone reached out to me and she said, a friend, and she was like, hey, let's go grab lunch. And I said, I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I said, I am honestly just in a season where I don't even have the margin to do lunch at the moment. But, I gave her an alternative. Like, on these days, I take my kids to go play basketball. I'd love for you to meet up with me or whatever. Like, I literally gave her an alternative. But my point in saying this is I could have done that in a different season. But in this season, the margin is not there, and that's okay. And I want you to have that freedom and that permission to tell yourself, like, if you have goals with your business and if you have desires for your family, then those are going to have to be your priority. And it might mean that you have to say no to other things. So drop a 1 in the chat if you feel relieved. If you're like, oh, that just gave me permission. Let me see here in the comments. Elizabeth says, thank you for understanding the time limit. Yes, yes. Yes. And like just the freedom to know that it's okay for you to say no to things. I had someone approach me on Sunday at church, and she's so sweet. She's the sweetest woman, and she asked me to do something, and I had to tell her no. I said, I so appreciate you asking me. But as soon as she asked me, I knew. I was like, okay, this is going to take a amount of time, decent amount of time. And I knew I didn't have that. And so I had to honestly tell her, I appreciate you asking me. And so that just might be the season that you're in, and it does not make you a bad person. If you do not have that margin, it does not make you a bad person. Okay, so I'm going to show you practically, like I literally took a screenshot of my calendar. I went to a week in January and just took a screenshot of this, and I put it here because I wanted to show you guys practically what this looks like for me, and take from it what you want. If you're like, hey, this doesn't work for me, then, take from it what you want. But I'm sharing this with you just to show you that, just to show you the practicality of what this can look like. Okay, let me see the comments here. Heather says, I feel like so many of my friends do not understand this. I need to be better about setting boundaries. Okay, let me say something about this. Heather, thank you for sharing that, because so many people can resonate with that. And here's the reality is your friends don't have to understand. Your friends don't have to understand. And I know that might sound harsh, but at the end of the day, your family is your priority. And this doesn't mean you can't do something with them in other seasons, but your family is your priority. And also, you're able to also tell people, I have from this time to this time. So if you are doing something with someone and like, hey, I only have an hour, and you don't want it to take your whole afternoon, you tell them like, hey, I only have from, 2 to 3 o'clock, but I'm really looking forward to meeting you for coffee or whatever, right? Like if you are wanting to do one of those kinds of things. But yeah, it's something that you can be misunderstood, but you have to go back to your priorities and saying, I feel like anything in life you could be misunderstood, but you have to go back to your priorities. Okay, so going back to the 3-block system. So I shared with you your personal block, your work block, and then your family, or if you're homeschooling, this is your homeschool block. So this is what it looks like for me. Okay, so the first block, you see orange. Okay, so the orange, anything orange is like self-care, personal, anything like that. So the very first part of my day is my own quiet time. So that's my devotional time, reading time. I exercise for myself. It's 5 days a week that I make non-negotiable. And so typically it's Monday through Friday that I make that a non-negotiable. So whether it's going outside and going for a walk, or, working out, and that is my self-care time. So typically, my kids will sleep in. Like I said, I've got one who is in school, so he gets up and gets himself off and drives himself to school. But typically that is uninterrupted time of self-care, like those kinds of things that feed me. I want to start the day in the Word. I want to start the day reading. I want to start the day pouring into myself, taking care of myself, exercising. So for me, those are non-negotiables. And so that is how I start my day. So currently, not too much about my personal life, but currently we're living in a rental house because our house was destroyed due to a storm. And so my desk is kind of in the middle of our home at the current moment. And so I require myself to be at my desk by 8 o'clock. So I have showered. I get fully dressed as if I were working in an office. Okay. So y'all see, typically got my, blouse on, my jewelry, my makeup, like as if I'm going to work and had to be on time. Like I will literally say to myself, if I'm running late to work, I'm like, I'm late to work. Okay. So I have to be at my desk at 8 o'clock. And you can see here the blue, anything in blue are tasks. Okay. Where certain things that need to get done. So like my social media, I give myself an hour of social media every day. So that's things like if I need to go live, I go live in our community, anything I need to post, any messages I need to respond to in Messenger, any content I need to create, reels, things like that. I give myself an hour of the social media. And then you can see, I'm not going to go through every single task here, but you can see how it's broken down into all different kinds of things. And then the purple are actual Zoom meetings where I need to show up on Zoom. So I know at that time that I'm going to have to actually show up on camera. So, obviously you see different things in here. We have podcasts, a tax meeting, a coaching call with our coach. And then anyway, so the purple are those tasks. And then I have in there lunch in orange, because that is my self-care. Going back to self-care, like I literally require myself to stop and have lunch, because I was noticing prior that I would either skip that and then be eating things that are unhealthy later in the day, when I was super hungry. So every day at 11:30, and everything that you see on here, an alarm goes off. Okay, so an alarm goes off on my phone reminding me, oh, you're about to be in your social media time. You need to stop and type emails. You need to stop and eat lunch, right? Like an alarm goes off for each one of these things. So I do all of my business activities. Okay, so that's the second block. So the first block is the personal, that's the orange. Okay. The second block is my working block. So from 8 o'clock to 11:30, typically, some days it adjusts. Today it adjusted, obviously. So typically from 8 o'clock until 11:30 will be my work tasks and any Zoom calls. And then at 12 o'clock to 4 is when we homeschool. So my kids, we literally meet on the couch. They have to have, while I am working, they have certain things that they are getting done. So they have to read, they have to pick up the house. I check their bedroom every morning to make sure it's clean, bed's made, all that kind of stuff. And so we meet at 12 o'clock for homeschool time. And we do, we start off, we do a devotional together, and then we get into their curriculum, and there's other things that I teach them outside of their curriculum. And so that time is there. That time is flexible. Does it look like this every single day? No, it does not. Like there are days where things will adjust, but I just wanted to give you practically an idea of what does it look like when you have kids at home. For you, maybe this is flopped. Maybe you're like, hey, my kids are up at 6 a.m. and I need to start working with them at this time or whatever. Like for you, it might be a totally different schedule. But this is what is working for us. And honestly, this is what has allowed me to have the peace to know, okay, when I'm working, I'm working. And when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. And I think that's something that I want to encourage you with, is that when you are working in your business, and you guys do not have to work this long. Like if you're working your network marketing business, there are tools, and I'm going to share this with you also, is there are tools where you can work your business an hour a day. You don't have to be working as much as I'm showing you. I'm in a different season as far as running a business versus direct sales, which I think, in direct sales, you can do it in very, very limited hours and still have your business actions that are needed to move the needle forward in your business. If you have a larger team and depending on your goals, is it going to take more time? Yes. But I think depending on your goals, it can take anywhere from one to 4 hours a day, and you can still be very successful in your business. Okay, so the third one is how to get your kids involved. Okay, so you do not have to do everything by yourself. And I think that that is something that can be encouraging to know, like you don't have to be the one to do everything by yourself. You can get your kids involved. So the first thing is to create a predictable schedule. Have some kind of schedule where your family knows what is going on, print it off, put it on the refrigerator. They typically need to see this. They need to know what the schedule is, what's going on, who's doing what day, what time things start. And so have some kind of predictable schedule. As I mentioned before, you can always adjust. So this can be a loose schedule. If things happen and you need to change things, then you can always do that, but have some kind of predictability. Also, give them age-appropriate chores. And so I shared this with, in our community, I went live a couple months ago and I was kind of talking about chores and getting your kids involved. And I shared with them this, but I had talked to a friend, this was several years ago when my kids were 7, 8, and 10. And I was telling someone how I just felt very overwhelmed. And I was saying how, I have so many things to do and I have to work and blah, blah, blah. And she said, do your kids do anything? And I said, no, I don't think they can. And she was like, oh, they can. And so she literally challenged me to get my kids involved. So from that point, so when they were 7, 8, and 10 years old, from that point, my kids have all they pretty much do everything involved with themselves. All of them do their laundry. They do dishes, they clean the kitchen, they do anything involved with the housework, sweep the floors, clean the bathrooms, literally taught them that at 7, 8, and 10, and they have been doing it ever since then. Okay, we have a whole system For that, we have a chore chart. Every Saturday is kind of the big chore day where everyone gets the entire house clean and everyone's laundry has to be done on Saturdays. And so the kids have a system for they all do their laundry and it has to get folded and put away and inspected by me. And then each week I pay them an allowance for doing the things that they do around the house. But I'm sharing this with you because your kids can do chores. If your kids know how to work an iPad, if your kids know how to play on your phone, your kids can turn on the washing machine, they can turn on the dishwasher. You just have to teach them how to do it. Teach them how to do that. And let me see here in the chat, and they will be able to do that. Okay, Jenny says we had that system when all three kids were home, but now we are down to one. It doesn't seem fair to make him do all the chores. Well, he could still do some, or you can pay him, you can give him the option and pay him a little bit more and say, hey, you're the only one here. Would you like to do this for X amount and give him this allowance? Okay, Elizabeth says, I wish I could wave a wand and people would magically understand that I literally don't have more than 2 hours a day to work my business. If I'm on a Zoom meeting, that takes up one of my 2 hours. Yes. And honestly, Elizabeth, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I was trying to say, is you have very limited time. And so even with an hour a day, like there are certain actions that you can still do to move the needle forward in your business with that. But anyway, give them age appropriate chores. And, with your kids. So right now, I'll tell you guys this. I have one child who, because, like I said, they were doing all these things, but there was something that still overwhelmed me, and it was making dinners. Okay. Dinners. I was like, if I could never have to cook for anyone else for the rest of my life, I would be so happy. So we had Gloria Banks on our podcast. I don't know if y'all know who Gloria is. She was on our podcast. She is number one in Mary Kay for 6 years in a row. Okay. Just basically a powerhouse woman. And she was talking about, just hiring help. We kind of got on the conversation of hiring help. And she said how, someone cooks for her, all the things. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I could ask one of my children to cook and I pay this kid like more than what a chore would be to cook. So I proposed this to one of my children and I said, hey, I will pay you this amount every single week. If you are interested in cooking. I was like, you guys, this is so funny. I said, I'm going to interview you. Like I literally gave him a job description. I said, I'm going to interview you. If you pass the interview and you are interested in being like the house manager / chef, I will give you the position. He was like, interested in the position. Okay. So I gave him, and this is a recent thing, but I gave him the opportunity. You guys, he has been cooking dinner and I am paying him to do this. Okay. He has been cooking dinner and it has taken such a weight off of my shoulders. And he's enjoying it because it's his quote unquote job. And if he decides he doesn't want to cook dinner anymore, that is fine. Like this is not child labor here. I feel like I need to give a disclaimer. This is not child labor. I am not saying force your kids to do all the things, but I am saying that they can be involved. And in this specific instance, he wanted to have a quote unquote job. And so I paid him to cook our dinners. And I realized, I'm like, oh my goodness, I should have done this a while ago. So the whole point in that is find ways to get your kids involved and doing some kind of chores, some kind of something to get them participating in the household. Because one of the things I always told our family is this is not just me living in the house. This is not just your dad living in the house. All of us are living in the house. All of us are putting garbage in the garbage can. All of us are, making dishes, whatever it is, right? And so everyone is involved in our home. Okay. And then the third one is to delegate. And so whether that's delegating with your kids or it's delegating outside, if you're wanting to hire a house cleaner, if you're wanting to hire, somebody to cut your grass, whatever it is, like things that you can delegate. Can you do a swap with other moms? If you're home and you have, 3 kids at home or 6 kids at home, can you do a day where you tell a girlfriend like, hey, if you bring your kids over on Monday, I will watch all the kids and then that'll give you a break. And then maybe on Friday we can swap. I'll bring my kids to your house. You can get a break, all that, that kind of thing where you are finding creative ways to delegate where you can give yourself time to work your business. Okay. So those are some suggestions. And then the fourth one is to have a consistent non-negotiable or have consistent non-negotiables. It is so important that you set business hours and you stay disciplined. It does not have to be 4 hours a day, but it can be 1 hour a day where you tell yourself, okay, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I am going to be 100% focused on the actions I need to do in my business, and I am going to be disciplined. So that means when that time comes and you hear your dryer ding or you hear, whatever, something else that can be distracting to you, you don't get up and do the other thing. You stay disciplined with the very thing that you said you wanted. Show up consistently on social media 5 to 7 days a week. So being consistent on social media is really going to be one of the biggest things that gives you that authority where people trust you, where people get to know you, that know, like, and trust factor. And having the ability to be consistent is going to help you in your business growth. And one of the things, we've provided a way to be able to be consistent, but that consistency is critical to show up online and make sure that you are being that presence online. And then the next one is to invite 3 people per day to hear about your business opportunities. So in network marketing, there are 2 aspects to building your business. One is sales and customers, and then the other aspect is team building. And so if you are wanting to grow and wanting to build, you really have to lean into the team building aspect of it. And so if every single day, say you carved out an hour a day to work your business, and part of that hour a day is you told yourself, all right, I'm going to reach out to 3 people per day to talk about my business opportunity, you would have incredible growth. Okay. So for example, statistically, for every 10 conversations that you have where you're inviting someone either to try a product or to be part of your opportunity, every 10 conversations that you have, 9 people are either going to not respond or tell you no, and then 1 person will tell you yes. And so if you're having, 2 conversations a month and you're like, why am I not growing? Why am I not building? You're not having enough conversations. But if you can have a system for every single day, if I just reach out to 3 people a day, every single day, you're going to see growth in your business. So I wanted to give you those 4 things. And then if you're listening today and you're like, okay, I love all that, but how do I practically do that? Like, what are the ways that I can implement this consistently? How do I show up consistently online to, have content every single day to post on social media, to be doing my business building actions every single day? And so myself and Becky, we are co-leading the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur. We created something to help people do exactly that. And so we have something called the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur community. It's a membership. And as a member, one of the aspects that you receive is a daily social media action plan. And this is huge because it literally gives you everything that you need to be successful in your business in 1 hour a day. Like if you are overwhelmed, you're like, I have 6 kids at home, I have all the things going on, I am overwhelmed. Samantha says, I love the daily action plan. Yes, because it gives you exactly what to post every day. So the things that are included, you get your daily social media action plan. Each month we have a Q&A. So myself and Becky, we are once a month, we answer your live questions. So whatever coaching questions you have, whatever questions you have on social media for your business. We have weekly mentorship calls with currently Shay Greenwood is doing our weekly mentorship calls where those are really life coaching, mom coaching. She's coaching you on different aspects. Shay was a top network marketer previously and is now coaching people. And we have an IPA checklist. So when I was saying IPA standing for income producing activities, like the actions that you need to do every day to move the needle forward, we have a Facebook community and then Canva templates that allow you to have, things for you to be posting on social media. So the people who are in our community have gotten amazing results inside our community using the social media action plan. And so I'm not going to read all these, but I'll just use, for example, I'm signed up. I posted the prompt for yesterday and I already have a lot of engagement. The exact help in all areas of being a mompreneur that I was looking for: family, faith, and business all in one place. And then someone says 2 posts. I made 2 posts from the action plan, and it got someone I had been working on to join like that. We have talked about it a lot lately. She's ghosted me recently, so I was letting it go for now. And then boom, I got this message and email. And when I saw the notifications, thank you, Monique and Becky, I think the content pushed her to say yes. So the content, basically every single day, we give you exactly what to post inside. So here's like a glimpse of what's inside of the action plan. Here's an example from November, but it's a PDF. You can print it off if you want to. It is a PDF that has exactly what to do every single day. So you'll have, like if today is the 13th, you go to the 13th of the month, you look at, all right, what can I post today on the 13th? You literally copy and paste it. You can adjust it to your personality, adjust it to your business. And so all of the content that is included in there, the value, if we were to break down the individual value of everything that was in there, it is over $2,600 of value, just all of the things that are included in there. But we wanted to make it accessible to everyone. And so we created it in a way where we have members who join for only $47 a month. So you can join for $47 a month, or if you do an annual subscription, it is $423 per year. So if you do the annual subscription, you actually save 3 months. You get 3 months free by doing the annual subscription for $423. But this is what Becky and I wish we had when we started in the industry, because for the mom who is like, hey, I want to prioritize my family, I want to homeschool, I want to be able to focus on them, but I also want to build my business, is we give you this action plan where you literally just turn to the day and it gives you exactly what to do in the business. And when you follow those actions, then you are able to see that growth and that success in your business. So thank you guys for being on. We dropped the link in the chat. So if you look at the chat and you want to copy and paste from the chat, it gives you the 2 different options for payment, either the in full or the annual. And we hope that this gave you content for, looking at your own life, looking at your own calendar and schedule and the way that your family runs. And if there's anything that you can take away from it, like I said, every family is different. So if my system is not exactly your system, that is perfectly fine. All kids are different ages. And so it might look a little bit differently for your family. But I do hope that it gave you some strategies and tips to be able to prioritize your home and your family. So if you registered for this event, whether you're watching live or on the replay, you should have received an email that will also give you the link if you want to join our community. But thank you guys for being on today, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for listening to the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur. If you loved what you heard today, could you stop and give us a 5-star rating and review? It helps our visibility on podcasting platforms so others like you can hear more of this message.
Also, if this episode encouraged you, we would love for you to pass it along to your own biz bestie and anyone else who could benefit. Lastly, don't forget that if you want to hang out with us just a little bit more, join us inside the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur community. Click the link in the show notes. Bye for now.